Hey guys!
Welcome to In Cahoots with the Chas Teens.
Today we are introducing our mothers. You guys get to see the true ins and outs of who we are, and of course, what better way to do so with our parents. So, Mom!
Mother!
Mom!
Ma! Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Okay.
To my right, we have my mom, best mom in the world. I'm just saying.
And my mother, who's even bester. No, we have two of the best parents on earth, our mothers. And again, you get to see who we truly are by getting to know our parents as well. So, Spencer, we have a few questions that we have for you guys.
Yes.
Okay. So, what's one of the first questions you have?
The first question is, what's it like to be a mom?
It's very fulfilling to watch you grow as a person from a little person who depends on me for everything, and then now it's your turn to take on that job as a parent and help me where I need help.
Me as a parent, I think it's an honor being a parent because I think God give us that opportunity to raise up incredible human beings. And so for me, being a parent is an honor to watch my children grow and to be incredible human beings. My prayer has always been, I don't care what you guys do, but as long as you're incredible human beings that treat other human beings with grace, with love, compassion, that's all that matters. So it's an honor to be a parent.
And I second that. Right. She said it very eloquently.
Let's get to the good questions.
This is the questions we. That was nice and sweet. Here's the real question, Mom. What did you think of? Wait, hold on. First thing first. How did you find out I was dating Spencer?
So, my grandson, who at the time was 4 years old, and I make it a habit to call, it doesn't matter what state I'm in, I make it a habit to call my grandkids every day, talk to them, see how they're doing. So my grandson at the time, he's 14 right now. So when he was 4 years old, he says, I have a brother, and his eyes is like this. And I was like, you have a brother? What, your mom adopted the child, didn't tell me? Says, yeah, mommy has a friend, and it's my brother, and his eyes is just like that. And I was like, I think I know what he's telling me. So I spoke to his mom. I said, are you seeing an Asian? And she's like, how did you know? I said, don't worry about that. Are you seeing an Asian right now? And so she shared with me, yes, she was seeing an Asian, but my 4-year-old grandson told me. So,
What did you think of Shantae when you first met her?
I thought she was a doll.
Aww.
She was, so cute and so adoring of you, and that's what I wanted in a
feeling your boy.
And a daughter is somebody that would love you the way I did.
Aww.
And just carry that on because you were soulmates. You found the one that.
So, knowing what you knew when I told you, I said, she had 3 kids. What did you think of that, like right off the bat?
Well, when I married your dad, I had your sister, and so, that was just in that time of society. Wasn't unusual to have a parent who unfortunately was divorced and had child or children, along with them. So.
Okay, so Mom, what did you think of Spencer when you first met him?
he was very quiet. I honestly, immediately when I met him, my spirit, felt calm. I knew that he would take really good care of you. Sometimes at some point I felt like he was too quiet, and then I noticed the way he just catered to you, and I'm like, that's so unreal. I mean, I even question. I'm like, come on, Shante, he's doing too much. He has to give you an opportunity to breathe. This girl would not even think of something, and he already, I got it. I got it.
Right.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I better keep an eye on him because he is too catering. And 10 years later, he's still the same. And I don't say anything. I'm like, whatever. That's them.
What do you think of me now? I mean, it's too late, but
Now that we're living in the same house, you're peeing in the butt.
it's fair.
And
I'll take that.
you and again, coming from a Haitian culture where you know the child and the son-in-law, it's like, you know, okay, but you're always, you have an excuse for everything, and I'm like, I am going to hurt him, and it's not an excuse, but he has a response for everything, and I'm like, do you have to? Can you just not take what I say and just keep moving?
Can I answer that?
But that's a no. But that's a good thing. I you know, it's helping me to see, you know, okay, you have your opinions, I have my opinions, and it's not like my culture is my opinion's the only one.
Yeah.
So I've come to learn and respect that.
I like it.
Although it still gets on my nerves.
It does. So,
That's the
Mom,
only thing.
how do you feel now that you've, okay, because I want everyone to understand the situation here. So I know everyone's probably looking like, okay, well, he's Korean and she's definitely Caucasian. So how did this happen? So, Mom, basically, can you tell us what happened and just I can sum it up?
When I met Spencer's father, Lester, and before we even got married, I said, if you want any children, we'll have to adopt them, because unfortunately I had a medical condition that I couldn't have children. And his sister is also adopted. But the thing is, I'm also adopted, and my sister. So it was just something that, you know, if God saw fit that I never got pregnant, the only way to have children was to adopt them. So we tried 2 different agencies and then came to one called Americans for International Aid and Adoption. And we filled out all the paperwork, hit a few stumbling blocks, and they said, you'll never adopt any child. I said, huh? So we went through the Children's Bureau, they did the home study, everything was fine, and we got the information. They asked us if we would take a child that had any kind of medical condition. So we filled out the paperwork and wrote down everything that, you know, one of them was a lot of orthopedic problems. Well, since we had a 2-story house, that was out of the question, because, you know, a little child could not, if he had orthopedic problems. One of the big questions was a heart condition. And we said yes, you know. And so we sent the paperwork in. In June, we got a call from the Children's Bureau, and they said, you have been selected for a child. And she said, come down and read all the information, but don't look at the pictures. And I thought, well, what's wrong with him? You know, he was the most adorable little child. He was in a baseball outfit that they had taken because his foster family had him, but they said he had a condition called tetralogy of Fallot, which is a medical term for 3 big problems wrong with his heart. And I kept saying, he doesn't have tetralogy. He's gaining weight. Yes, his lips turn blue when, you know, he's trying to suck a bottle or cry. But, you know, we had Riley right next door, so Lester and I talked about it, and we said, sure, we'd take him. And
That's the decision ever.
that was the decision that we made, because a long time ago I was told that in my patriarchal blessing from church that I would have children. Dawn does not make children. Dawn made one. Mm-hmm. So I knew someplace along the line that another one was coming along. Well, he came along We picked him up in Detroit, Michigan, and on October the 20th, 1987. And not only did he have a heart condition, he had about 6 other things wrong with him.
Okay, so Mom, how many surgeries have Spencer had total since birth?
He's had a total of 13 operations since we got him.
More like 15.
When did you have 2 more?
Well, I had jaw, remember?
Yeah.
Broke my jaw.
That's when after when you got older and
That
you
was
listened
over.
to me and you broke your jaw playing football, thinking he was.
Anyways.
Up
play
until
football.
he graduated from high school, there were 13 operations. The last one being when he got deliberately kicked by another player playing soccer, and he had stitches in his hand. But that was 13 between the open heart and everything else.
How old were you when you had Shantae?
Me?
Yeah.
Why are you getting in my personal business?
Listen, you people want to know.
Okay, so I was a teen mother. At the age of 16, I was pregnant with her oldest sister. But actually, before, while I was pregnant, my boyfriend, who was my fiance, then their father, his sister died, and I ended up getting their cousin. And so she has become like my oldest daughter. And then, but at the same time, I was pregnant. And then I got married. Their father and I got married. So I got married at the age of 17. I had 2 children by the time I was 17, which one of them was adopted. And then I had Shantae when I just turned 18. So
You were
I was
young.
18. I
I was
young.
old when
So I was married at the age of 17.
So it was a shotgun wedding? You know,
Actually, so it really wasn't a shotgun. So we wanted to get married. I went to my parents before I get pregnant, and they said no. And so what he and I decided to do was to get pregnant. And then back then, the culture in our Haitian culture, back then in the 80s, if you get pregnant, then they would force you to get married.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So we got pregnant so they would allow us to get married.
So we can no longer say Chantel's an accident. She was actually.
No.
No, Chantel wasn't an
She
accident.
was not an accident.
I was probably the
planned.
accident one.
I have 6. I gave 6 original birth. They all were accidents.
Except for one.
Except for one.
Except for the oldest.
Do you have
Accidents but blessings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I was older when he came along. Everybody looked at me like, you're doing what at your age? Because I was 43 when we got Spencer.
Oh, wow.
But see, I had, Lester and I got married in 81 and Spencer came in 87.
Oh, so
we had tried, but like I said, we tried other agencies but we found one because I kept relying on Heavenly Father. You said I was going to have children. Where's my child?
Eventually you provided.
And there he was.
The other thing that we wanted to do, not only introduce you guys to the YouTube channel and everything like that, we also wanted to bring you here to let you know that we're actually pregnant.
What?
They're lying. They're lying, Loretta. Don't listen to them. Well, they better be lying.
Okay, so Mom, why did you should have had the same reaction my mother-in-law had.
Well, she said all the girls had 5 kids and she
In our
only had
family.
4.
Yeah. Spencer say I'm actually I'm slipping as
Below
a
average.
No.
but I'm below average in our family. Most of our
Actually, you have the
aunts
most kids
out of my sisters.
out of your mom's kids, yeah.
Yeah, I have 4 kids out of my mom kids. Everybody else has Francesca has 3 now, but
Liz has 3.
Liz has 3. Yeah.
But I wanted her to have a little
want her to
girl.
have another one?
Yeah, I want her to have a little girl.
Oh, well.
So I can
Well, I did find that we have to get the Rogam shot. I found it at Walmart. So I'm thinking about buying it and just injecting her.
He's not doing that. He's not doing that. Okay, so how has it been? Because let me just start and say this. Our family is so big, okay, very large family, and it's amazing to see how we've all come together as one. And when I say all together, I mean Mom comes over every weekend and she does church with us on Sundays. She brings us food. Mm-hmm. She does it all, and it's such a community basically. Yeah. It's like, it's crazy. It's just amazing to me because I know a lot of people, and I've had past relationships and marriages where the parents weren't connected at all, barely spoken to each other, and I love how close-knit our family is.
Yeah, I think the stigma is you're not supposed to like your in-laws. You know, that's what society says. Society says all the in-laws are coming over, but for me, it's always been just I enjoy having your mom, and Charles over here, and especially now that we live with them. It's like I couldn't see it any other way. I couldn't imagine going a day and not speaking, speaking to you guys and having conversations, and not just for me, for the kids as well. It's just having a good sense of conversation, and I think that's what builds our kids up as well, is that they get into these adult conversations, and adult to a certain degree, but it challenges them mentally to think outside of the box.
Well, there's one reason why I like coming, besides seeing all you guys, is that when I was growing up, I only had one grandparent, and that was my mother's mother, because my dad's father had died when he was 14 years old in 1908. Betty and I, that's my sister, we went to live with Mom and Daddy when I was 5 and she was 10 as foster children, and they eventually, with everybody's help, adopted us. So we became part of the family. Well, part of Daddy's family, we were not really accepted, but on Mom's side of the family, it was fine, even though we were adopted, who cares? They're part of the family.
So, what is the best thing about your mom to you?
Oh, for me, that's easy. I think how strong and passionate she is about her career, and just how she goes for, if there's something she wants, this woman will go for it. She does not play. Like, another thing is, I just love how she wasn't closed-minded with culture, not just the Haitian culture, but any culture. I think I remember as a teenager, my mom would always take us to little restaurants whenever she got paid. I think it was like once a month, or if she could, every 2 weeks, she would have us go to a nice restaurant, take us out. We could pick anything on the menu, and we could eat it. And then she would spend the money and buy it. And so it got us to be open-minded and to try different cultures, especially like kids at the age of like 7, 8, eating sushi or crabs or lobster was not normal. It was not the norm. So it was crazy that my mom got us to do those type of things. I mean, even to the point where if there was something that she had or she purchased, right, and she gave it to us, or she would try to give it to us to try it, and we would say, "Oh, I don't like that. That's disgusting. Ew." Don't ever say you don't like something before you try it. And I think one of my little sisters, to this day, she says that my mom, I think it was something that she was eating, and my sister asked my little sister, did she want some? And my little sister said, "Ew, no, I don't want it." She then gives it to me and all my other sisters, and all of my other sisters and I are tearing it down because it was so good. And my little sister goes back to my mom and goes, "Mom, can I try it?" "Oh no, remember you said you didn't like it." You didn't like it. From that moment on, it always taught her to be open-minded and to try everything, and not to be, closed-minded about anything new, despite how it may look or come about,
Mm-hmm.
So I love that about my mom. She was just not the typical Haitian, basically, I'll say.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that means.
Haitians have a tendency to be like
very close
mind, not really open to not really open to other people's I guess traditions or culture. They in a sense.
With that, one of the things that so we were born in the Bahamas, raised in a close Haitian family culture. So it was all about the Haitian culture, even though we were born and raised in the Bahamas. And all the other culture we receive is when we interacted with people outside of the family. Then we moved to the United States, and then we were living in Little Haiti. We went to Haitian church. All of our friends were Haitian. We went to Haitian restaurants, the grocery stores in the neighborhood. So we never really interacted. But when I turned about 25, then I started to go to college. I started college later. And in the classroom, when we're having classroom discussion, I would hear other people with their views. And then I realized, oh, wait, there is a different view. And I realized that, oh my God, I was so imprisoned in my own mind because all I knew was what I knew. I never tried to learn that there was something different until I went to college. And so I was like, oh my God, how many people are walking around not realizing that there are different opinions, different views, different things. Everybody has different experience. And then taking the time to learn from others. And so I made a promise that I will not allow my kids to go through that, so they can always have an open mind when they're interacting with others and not think it's their only views or opinion that matters in life. So that's how that came across.
Okay, Spencer, what's your favorite thing about your mom?
So many to choose from. I think one thing for sure is the unconditional love you have for everyone. I think that's one thing that you've taught me for sure. Like whether or not you intentionally did it or not, just being able to show unconditional love to just everyone. Having to come into to having 3 grandchildren right away off the bat, and coming into a relationship that with somebody that has 3 kids, it was just knowing, like, I already had unconditional love installed into me without me even knowing it. So coming in and saying, hey, you know what, these kids, if I'm going to date this woman or marry this woman, they're going to become my children, and I'm going to love them no matter what. So unconditionally. So with you having to adopt children, I know it's challenging to a certain degree. And to that point, I'll say that you might not have given birth to me, but you definitely gave me life. So to not have to birth children, I can see the psychological mindset of a woman of what that is, right? But also to have this child, like, I don't know anything about this child that's coming from another parent or another group, and saying, you know what, I don't care. This kid is mine. I'm going to love him. I'm going to take care of him no matter what. And I think that's one thing that I love about you the most.
You better not cry or
He already crying. He already crying. He over here trying to be soft. Yes, you can. I saw the tear dropping, bro. No, honestly, one thing.
That's what I love about you.
What I love about mom is because when I got in the relationship with Spencer, I immediately was like, oh my God, what is your mother gonna think? I have 3 kids. I've been married twice already. She's probably like, throw her away. What are you doing? And so it was amazing to me because I remember going over there, and when I tell you, I felt so at home with her. I was like, oh my God, she's such a beautiful person. From his nieces, his nephew, his sister, I was amazing. And even when the kids came over, my daughters or my son, when it was we would go home with bags of gifts. Like, it was, she was so loving to me and my kids. It was amazing. I honestly appreciate you for that. Thank you for looking past my past and just seeing me for who I was, and didn't, look at me like, oh my God, he's going the wrong way. He has no kids. And now he has 3. You love my kids like they're your own.
Yeah. Well, they are mine. I mean, because I go back to to what Betty and I went through when we came into the family. And, when I married Lester, I had been married two times before. So, you didn't have anything over on me. And it was like, oh, shoot. But, but with having Dawn and her father of not really interacting with her, after even though he lived not too far from where we live in Speedway, but I wanted the children to know, you're here. Yes, I'm Spencer's mom. You are a part of the family. I don't care. And it's like I was trying to accept them to let them know, you are a part of my family.
And you do a great job of it, because when we're conversing or sharing with the grandkids, it's like, my other grandma, and I know it's Mima coming over today, or so they see you as their grandmother. Yeah.
And they're my because it's like they say how many grandchildren you got. I said, I got 6, 3 boys and 3 girls. And I said, when Nolani came along, and then when the girls, I prayed so hard when you were trying to get custody of them, and it was like, oh, please,
Yes.
let them stay here, because they needed you. They needed, you too, to help them grow. Because coming from, losing my father when I was 12 years old, and just having mom, to teach me, and it takes a whole community to raise children. And
Exactly what this is.
It takes a village.
it takes a village. Tried to instill in him, to no matter what, you love somebody, you show it.
And he did a great job.
Yeah.
Definitely does that.
So you were gonna ask him, how does it feel living with his in-laws?
Oh, good. So, mom just said it. How do you like living with my mom?
I will say that it is awesome,
But
not just because she's here. Let me tell you why. Because I have a personal chef. I'm kidding. It's when I grew up, right? My family consisted of my mom, my sister, my niece, and nephew. So we have 4 or 5 people that's in my immediate family that I would consider my immediate family, right? So coming to such a large family, it's like you feel the love, and so I don't even really see a problem with living with your mom, Charles. Like I said, I think society tries to tell us like, hey, we're supposed to hate our in-laws. We're supposed to be bothered by our in-laws. You're not supposed to be able to sit down and hold a conversation without arguing or you getting on. Everybody gets on each other's nerves, but that's part of life. That we learn to grow from that. And I think the other part of that is not just the love that you have for us, but that you show to the kids. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that being able to say like, oh dang, I don't have to worry about my kids sometimes, because I know you have their best interests at heart. So I know that we get on each other's nerves with stuff like that too, but I know that deep down inside you have their best interests at heart, and we have their best interests at heart. I think coming together with that is what's not only the helping us become better parents as well, but also helping the kids. And
I think people need to know too that how this all took place. With us living together. It's me deciding to move from Maryland and move to Indiana to be closer to the grandkids.
Exactly.
And so I bought this huge house thinking that everybody will be here every day. I'm like, what was I thinking? So the house was really large, and it was just a small part of the house that Charles and I were taking. And then in 2019, I had a brain aneurysm where I they almost lost me. And so I had to live with another daughter to take care of me. And so the house was empty. And so I asked them, because we needed someone to take care of the house, you know, while we were away. And I knew it would be more than a year that we would be, I would not be in the house. So I lived with my other daughter for a year, over a year. And so I asked Spence and Shantae to move in and take over the house while we're gone.
Yeah.
But then after I got better and I had to go back to work, it's much closer here, where I live closer to work. So I needed to come back, and there was space for everybody. So the house is large enough where their family and my husband and I can stay here and we'll all still be comfortable. And so that's how we all end up living together. So, and then now, you know, it helps everybody at ease, just in case if something happens to mom, at least Spencer and Shantae are here. But it turned out that I have more energy than them.
Yeah.
So.
But I will say that for my kids, the experience of having the grandma and grandpa in the house, I had when I was younger. When my mom decided, she dropped out of school because she had all these kids. And she finally decided to go back to school to pursue education. And so at that time, we ended up moving in with our grandma. And it's funny because we were a year, 2 years, we were with our grandma, but I learned so much about the Haitian culture from living with my grandma, which is my dad's mom actually, because her mom had already passed. And so I truly appreciated that time that I had with my grandma. When my mom allowed us to go there, there were moments where I was mad because she was, you know, we couldn't watch TV. We, only Haitian music channel and the gospel, Christian channel, or, couldn't wear pants. We only could wear skirts and stuff. So, I had that experience, but I think those were some of my best life experiences in that time. So I know that you being in a home with us, it actually helps my kids 10 times more than just me and Spencer raising them. And so where I lack or Spencer lack, of course, grandma and grandpa and other grandma always are there. So it's perfect.
And I think that's what grandparents are about. I know raising you guys at such a young age, I was still figuring life out. I was still figuring what I wanted, what to do, how to best take care of you guys. And so you're always within yourself and you're not paying attention the way you should to your children. And I understood that, especially with you guys as well. You guys are running your business, you're working, you're figuring things out. There are going to be things you're missing or you're neglecting, but it's not something you're doing deliberate. That's just life. And I think grandparents are there to help catch those slacks. And sometimes you guys give me a fight, but I get it, but that's what grandparents are for. So
and I felt like sometimes, because of having to work, being the sole support of everybody, that I could not, especially when Spencer was playing soccer in high school, I would go to half the game and then I'd have to go back home and get ready to go to work because I worked 35 miles away and had to drive there, and I felt like I was not being as attentive to him because I couldn't always stay for the whole game. He played in the band. I love the school that he went to. I still live in the big town of Speedway. But you talk about families living together. When you go back and look at the 1900, the 1910, 1920 census, you wouldn't believe how many families lived with either the grandparents or, more than one family lived together. And that was, of course, before the Great Depression, which forced a lot of people into, but now, like Spencer says, society thinks that, you shouldn't get along with this.
Individualism.
Yeah. And it's like, no, we're all part of God's family. We're all, God's children, and we should be helping each other.
And it is a joy co-grandparenting. Because they call me grandma and they call you mama.
Mama.
Yeah.